Mississippi State assistant coach Scott Padgett joins Marching to Madness. Coach Padgett played at Kentucky, where he was a huge key in the Wildcats' 1998 national championship team. He was also first team All-American during that year, first round pick of the Utah Jazz in the 1999 NBA draft, as he spent 8 seasons in the NBA. Coach, welcome.
How you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Hey, I remember your playing career as your career took to the highest level. What are some things that you learned as a player that you can now use as a coach?
Well, I think, and I think it's probably even more so now when you look at today's SEC,
Yeah.
um, that like, every game is its own thing. Whatever you did last game, it don't matter. Like you got to come and you got to bring it every night. And especially like looking at the SEC now, you know, there's no days off. There's no quote unquote easy games. Everybody is every time you step out there, it's going to be a war. So, I think because we were where we were at back then at a pretty high level, we got the best of everybody whenever we played them. Like it was a big game for them, so we had to get up and make it a big game for us too. And just learning to play every game like it's the last, kind of, like your season's on the line every game.
And you played for Rick Pitino and Tubby Smith. How were they able to shape your basketball philosophy that you took to the NBA level as a player and now to 6 years as an assistant coach and the head coach of the Sanford Bulldogs recently?
Well, I think initially a lot of things that we did under Rick Pitino, I had implanted in my when I was a head coach, and you kind of learn to build and tweak and things like that along the way to make things your kind of your own. One of the things that Rick Pitino did a really good job of is recruiting really good players. So
Yeah.
getting those types of players to play your system, like whatever fits your system. I think early on as a coach, I thought go get the best players and put it together, and learned over time that you got to piece things together and make things fit. Rather than just necessarily trying to get the best player at every position that you can.
Mississippi State has won the last 2 games over Ole Miss and Texas A&M and has won 3 out of 4. How have the Bulldogs moved forward of late in what is the deepest and toughest conference in the history of college basketball?
I think number one is just I think we've kind of turned up our defensive intensity. We made it, we had a week a gap. We had a bye game there, and had a week to work on some things. So we tweaked some things, and I think our guys have taken to that really well, and it's worked out the last 2 games. And with coach, it's tweaking is a constant thing. Like he's never satisfied with like, all right, you were really good last game. Let's do the exact same thing. Like he's going to try to find a tweak that helps make you even better the next game. So I think our guys have been locked in and really focused in practice, and each time we make a little tweak, really focused in to understand it and getting it and being able to do it and execute it when we get in the games.
17 steals against Texas A&M. Quite an entity as the Bulldogs scored 22 points off 19 Aggies turnovers. Cameron Matthews had 6 of those, Josh Hubbard 4.
Yeah, no, Cam's been doing that kind of thing his whole career. He's kind of a magnet to the ball where he sees something before it's even going to happen. He's coming to slap down and he gets steals. I thought, I told people I thought last game was Josh Hubbard's best game as a Bulldog all around. Like he really pressured the ball and got after it. He was, he was involved in getting some steals. He pushed the ball and shared with others. He was really, really efficient, scoring 25 points on 10 shots, like so. Uh, that to me was his best all around game since he's been here.
He's one of the most efficient point guards and leaders, fourth in the SEC in scoring at 17.8 points per game. He also leads the league in assist to turnover ratio.
I think his biggest jump this year has been one, taking care of the ball because he doesn't turn it over. On the year, I think he's got 26 turnovers. That's one a game. When you have the ball in your hands as much as he does, that's high level. That's taking care of the ball at a high level. I think the other thing is now he's starting to learn reads
Mhm.
of where, like, when he comes off a pick and roll, how their defense, how they play the defense, he's starting to learn the read. So if you play it this way, I know this guy's open. And so now, like you saw it last game, had some cross court skip passes to get Claudel some threes and things like that. I think he's just kind of tipping the iceberg of what he can be as a playmaker, because for his whole life he's really just been a phenomenal scorer. So it's been more about like going to score the ball, and now he's mixing it up and doing more things.
Sean Murphy, Cameron Matthews are Mississippi State's top two rebounders, and they finish consistently in the paint. Matthews leads the league with 2.6 steals per game. Michael Nwoko has started 24 of the 26 games and adds to the inside repertoire. Nice depth there.
No, I mean, I think those guys have all just, obviously Cam's been, doing it for a long time. And I think Keyshawn's coming into his own. Like, his first year, he got some sporadic minutes here and there. Last year, he was kind of in that position where if he was going good, he might, get some good minutes. But if he wasn't, he might not play in the second half or play short minutes. And now he's in that position where he knows he's going to play. So he plays, I think, freely versus trying to go in and I got to make something happen right away, which sometimes it was good and sometimes it leads to mistakes, when you try to force the issue. And now he's playing with just a lot of confidence. And, you look at Murphy, he's a power forward center and with a positive assist turnover ratio and 43 assists on the year, almost two a game for a guy who's playing the center position. It's something that's become a weapon for us, is being able to have him be a playmaker out of the post. And most people don't have that luxury. And then, Mike, I think, is coming along and figuring our system out more and more. Obviously it's tough when you're a transfer coming in and having to learn a new system and everything. But I think he's starting to figure it out, and he's starting to play more aggressive and going after rebounds and understanding our pick and roll coverages better. So, like, I think both of those guys are just going to take off even more.
As you study opponents, how do you see defenses change when facing Cameron as a 6'7" power forward with those complementary passing skills?
Well, I mean, I remember like the first year we were here, like just played 5 feet off of him and like basically, dared him to shoot or whatever. And last summer when we were getting ready for Portugal, we started installing a lot more of our like 5 out offense, and things like that. And we kind of let everybody do a little bit of everything just to see what everybody could do. And we realized that Cam had some really good uh, passing ability and could push the ball and things off of rebounds and stuff like that. And it just made us a more versatile team because it gave us another playmaker. And you have to play him different now because he's got the ball in his hands. You got to play him different than you used to. So now teams, once the ball's out of his hand, they might play off him a little more, but he's done a great job becoming a cutter too. So like you can't just slack off of him like you used to maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And he's a big part of what we do as far as creating shots for other people. And what's great about him too is Cam, though he can score, he doesn't care about scoring. So he's not just putting his head down thinking, I'm going to go get the rim. If they come and help, which they have to, because most of the time he's faster than the man guarding him, so
Yeah.
he's going to beat those other power forwards. And so now help comes and he's a willing passer.
Claudel Harris averages double figures at 10.2 points. He joins Josh there in the backcourt and being able to find those 3-point shots.
Well, I think I mean, obviously we brought him in here because we knew he was a really good shooter. And Claudel has that kind of microwave ability because like when he hits one, he can usually get on a roll. And so the big thing with Claudel is just, man, stay confident, be ready to shoot, because he's like you saw last game against Texas A&M, he can get it going in a hurry, and when he's on, it just makes us a tougher team to guard.
He's got those Vinnie Johnson abilities in back in the day.
Yeah, he like I say, he can get it going.
Hey, as an assistant to Coach Jans, what part of the game do you focus on most in practice and then in game planning or game preparations?
I'm almost all offense. Like, obviously, because your offense, you have some ideas and stuff for the defensive end, and coach will pick my brain every now and then about that. But mostly, I'm just focused on the offense, trying to get the right spacing, try to attack mismatches, attack weak links on the other team, things like that. So spend most of the time, 99% of my time on offense.
Yeah. Hey, as as you are in the closing stretch now, what are Mississippi State's best defensive actions that will allow the Bulldogs to hold opponents to less than 40% from the field, as you did in those two wins over Ole Miss and Texas A&M?
I think coach talks about it all the time. The number one thing for every defense is it starts on guarding the ball. Like we can be in our gaps and we can be ready to slap down and all that stuff. But if we allow, like, no move, just quick rip blow bys, it's hard to, it makes it hard on the defense. So guarding the ball, and making it tough on that ball handler, putting the pressure on them, getting them back on their heels. That's what the key to our, in every good defense is. And when we're at our best, we're keeping people out of the paint.
Coach Scott Padgett, assistant to Chris Jans at Mississippi State, the Bulldogs, a tough out in what is an impeccably tough conference. It's fun to watch, Coach.
Well, it's definitely a tough conference. And like you say, it's one of those things where, like, you get the big win, against Texas A&M the other day, and you're turned around, and by the time you go to bed, you got to focus and know that the next day it's all Oklahoma.
Coach, thanks a lot, man. I look forward to doing this again at some point.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.